Welcome to another episode of the BAM Blog Breakdown with Aaron, Brian, and myself. Break down expert business blogs so that you can better understand and apply the information to your business and life for real results. Before we get started, get over to our YouTube channel and give us a subscribe there. Click us. You know, it's kind of like the Facebook equivalent to a like. Just subscribe. Keeps you in the loop. If you like our episodes, share that with friends. Have them subscribe. If you're watching this on a post somewhere like a Spreaker or one of our blogs, still head over to our YouTube channel and give us a like. So we got a really cool blog for you today. And what's kind of funny is our pre-show discussion was longer than the show is going to be, right? Because this is really a tough topic. It's a tough one to grasp and understand. And we're going to see if we can either completely wreck this for you or shed some light on it today, right? Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Right? So this is Amy O'Connor, and we've covered some of Amy's stuff in the past. She writes for the Jeff Shore blog. So you got to get over to jeffshore.com, check out this blog. She titled this, "Do You Have a Genuine Hunger for Knowledge?" And our pre-show discussion was really looking at that and trying to figure out what direction we were going to go with today's show, right? And really, we didn't come up with a direction. So you're going to have the BAM winging it, right, as much as we've ever winged it, but not really, because I think we're experts enough in the field of self-education and helping people improve their lives. I think we're going to come up with some quality discussion here as we go. Let me give you a quick summary of what's going on here. Amy starts off by telling you about the typical interviews that she goes through when people are looking for sales positions. Okay. I can sell anything. I always exceed my goals. I'm a team player, right? It's like a template, right? Check, set it, check, set it, check, set, right? Am I right? But she meets this guy named Ed who took a totally different approach and explained to her that he is here to learn everything that they can teach him and perform his best and serve the clients the best they can. And this intrigued Amy. Wow, a different approach. This guy had a genuine hunger for knowledge, she comes to find out later. Amy even goes on to say that she believed this guy wholeheartedly from the very beginning because of his different approach. She even found herself driving out to visit this guy's sales site just to give herself a boost.
A
motivation, right? So a really good story. She does a really good job. Get into it. Meet Ed a little bit. Amy tells great stories. Everybody over at Shore Consulting tells great stories. That's why I love reading their blogs. But really good stuff. So, as we started looking at this, finding some key points was difficult. So I'm looking at Aaron's notes right now. And Aaron's key point is having a hard time with this. So Aaron, what's your key point? And give it to me, man. Let's battle this one out, brother.
Man, our viewers, our listeners, the way I see them is they're entrepreneurs already. There are people who are living the entrepreneur life. They're out there trying to make it happen. And in many cases, they are making it happen. And most likely they're listening to us because they're our friends. No, I'm just kidding.
Because they're my brother.
Oh, you guys my friend.
Because they're hungry.
I don't
for
have
knowledge.
too many.
That's why they're listening to us.
Right. They're hungry already.
And so they're already hungry. They're already listening to us. They're learning. They're doing that stuff. So it baffles me. I'm completely baffled with the idea that our viewers and our listeners aren't hungry for knowledge. And it baffles me just to the idea of anybody not being hungry for knowledge.
Yeah.
So I it's hard for me to say, well, this is my key point here, because it's hard. I just can't understand how people aren't hungry for knowledge, and maybe I'm just, talking on my soapbox or whatnot, but I really don't get it. I think about the people that I'm around, and all my really good friends, they're all hungry for knowledge.
Yeah.
I think about the clients that I work with. They come to me because they want to better themselves, or they want to become a bikini model or fitness model, and they're hungry for knowledge, and they're there and they apply everything that I teach them, and they do it. So I mean, I don't get it.
So one of the things that I think is key here, and for you to understand, for all of us to understand, for you guys out there to understand, is we do this show. I'm going to actually do our little intro again, because I think it's going to help me move forward to kind of rebut what you're saying just a little bit, right? Aaron, Brian, and I review expert blogs so that you can better understand the information to apply it to your life or business for real results. And I think in this overtrained, undereducated society, and that's what we are, we're overtrained. We're pushed to get a grade or a certification, not to understand. We can get a grade and not understand a thing. If we don't understand, no change is going to happen with that information, but we got the certification. We got the degree. And I think what we've done is we've misunderstood the difference between knowledge and experience and information and training. Okay? So in this, I look and I go, hey, you know what? I need to learn a little bit about high-fiber diets because I got diverticulitis. I'm going to Google that. And I'm going to go get some information. That is not education. I didn't educate myself. Researching it, getting intentional, finding 8, 10, 12 sources, finding common information between trusted sources so I can take that information and go, I can now trust this information and apply it to my life and see what the result is. Now I have experience. Now I'm creating knowledge. Listening to our blog, our vlog, our video cast here is not education or knowledge until you take the information and apply it and look at the results and measure them and make change happen in your life. And I think that's what's going on here. I think all entrepreneurs are hungry to listen to good podcasts, to feed themselves positive information, to take care of their bodies, minds, and overall well-being. I believe that that's what they want to do. But I think that that's not what everybody does do genuinely and fully. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Brian, hit on this a little bit because I'm kind of beating the horse here.
Well, think about it this way. You went to school, and they told you in school if you made these grades. Well, what did you do to make the grades? Well, you just memorized the stuff on the paper, and you went and took the test, and you got the grade. So by what you were trained to think and do, you memorized, get the grade, you moved up. Now you deserve to have a job, and you deserve to end up at a certain spot in life. The reality is you didn't learn anything that you can actually do in life except you memorized the paper or you memorized the book. And that's not that memory work. So we have a lot of people that are...
So you're saying reading about the Eiffel Tower and going to France and experiencing the Eiffel Tower are two different things.
Absolutely. And if one of our people that we break down, aside from Amy and Jeff, is James Arthur Ray, where we kind of got that example from in one of his blogs. That experience, that self-learning, that digging down past what they tell you to memorize and figuring out how things really work, because just because it's written in the book doesn't mean that it's going to work the way it's written in the book. Because, like we tell people all the time, you plan, you do, you check, and you adjust. Okay, if you only know the paper, then, if you only memorize that you don't have any knowledge, any real wisdom, any real experience with the subject. You only know what the paper said. And if it doesn't work the way the paper said it, where do I go from here? Because the paper said I was going to, they said if I got a 4.0, then, and that I, in valedictorian and all this stuff, that I was going to just succeed in life. Well, why am I not succeeding? Because I did what you said.
So
no knowledge, though.
There's also an intentional piece to this, right? We've done a lot of Jeff Shore. Covered a lot of Jeff Shore stuff before. Amy is on Jeff Shore's team, so I feel very comfortable talking
Amy,
about
you
this.
Slammed this blog.
Yeah, by the way.
I think there's a lot of people that don't understand the hunger for the knowledge versus the I need a job and I'm going to say all the correct buzzwords.
I think also that Ed, who finished his year 170% of his quota, he slammed it because he went in with intention to learn. Okay, but here's the thing, right? I think we, going back to what I was about to say is, Jeff talks about his comfort zone a lot, right? Be bold is Jeff's whole thing. Be bold and win the sale, right? It's about getting out of our comfort zone, right? A lot of times when we go get education information, it's education information that solidifies where we are in our comfort zone, right? So For me, I look and I go, okay, company owner A, how are things for you? Well, sales are down. Okay, you're a solopreneur? Yeah. So you're struggling with sales? Yeah. What are you reading right now? Who are you listening to? What are you watching? Well, I was told to read this really good book on marketing. Good. So you want to improve your marketing. Good idea. Are you reading anything about sales right now? Are you being intentional about your self-directed education? Right? I kind of look at it like this. I can take slap shots all day long, but it's not going to help me improve my free throw. It's just not going to work. I can become great at it, but it's not going to help me improve my free throw. I've got to get intentional about the mechanics of my free throw to improve my free throw. So when we start looking at education and information, it's really easy to go to LinkedIn, where everybody's writing articles, or people's blogs, and find a catchy headline and read it and move on with our day and say, I got knowledge today. No, I didn't. Right? But going, man, I'm struggling with sales. I need to improve sales. Or maybe I'm not struggling. Maybe I'm doing good at sales, but I'm ready to get to the next level. Excellent. What are the people at the next level doing? What are they doing? Man, let's read Jeff Shore's book. Let's read Bob Burg's book. Let's go to the Jeff Shore Summit. Let's maybe get Bob Burg on our podcast for an interview so we can get some of his knowledge firsthand. Let's invite Jeff Shore, which you did, and obviously his schedule's not going to allow, but you found out Jeff was coming to Houston.
Heck yeah, man. I was like, Jeff, man.
Let's get together and grab some coffee.
Yeah.
Right? Intentional about learning, intentional about your education, right? These guys are experts in sales and relationship marketing. If that's where your struggle is, get intentional about that. If your struggle is in leadership and culture, excellent. You need to start getting intentional. Maybe you need to buy Chuck Blakeman's book. Start following his blog. Hire him to educate you. Not just go get more basic information that you're filtering.
And I guess my big thing was it was just really hard for me to understand and get that people who literally want to be better and become better and achieve something, that they think they could do that without being hungry for knowledge, without getting more knowledge.
So you know what? There's a block, though. There's also a divide, right? Because there's a lot of solopreneurs out there, what I like to call skillpreneurs. Skillpreneurs are people that have a special skill. They bring it to the marketplace. And what they generally do is they continue to educate themselves on their skill, but they forget to educate themselves about how to run a business. That's what I'm talking about, intention. I can be the best chiropractor in the world and fail at business. I can continue to educate myself and become a better chiropractor and add more certifications and fail at business because I didn't get intentional about learning as much about sales, business, operations, and people as I did about the practice of chiropractic.
But and I know where you struggle with this, because I struggled with this for a long, long time myself. And one of the reasons why I struggled so hard is what you pointed out in the beginning. Everyone that you're surrounded with, like your friends, the clients, all the people that you collaborate with, are all of the same mindset. Like, we're all of the same mindset. We all, I mean, like you said, YouTube, books, blogs, all this stuff. You're all the time. He and I are all the time back and forth. Hey, have you read this? Hey, have you checked this out? Hey, have you listened to these CDs?
This is our world.
Yeah, it's like, have you done, so we're all hungry for that. Well, it's hard for us to even fathom. Like, it's really hard. It was extremely hard. It would just tick me off to no end that someone would want my help, and then they wouldn't do anything to increase their knowledge of what they asked for help in, number one, or even in their own business, like in their own competitive, like in their own industry. They could tell me who their competitors were, but they couldn't tell me if their competitor knew they were competing with them.
Right.
To me, you and I, we're competitors. Okay. When you walk into a room, do you not know who you're competing against? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do they feel you in the room? Like, when you walk in the door, they feel you. They know you're there. Okay. That's competition. If you can't put that in your marketplace, if your competition doesn't know you're competing with them, I guarantee you your target market doesn't know you're alive.
So take all that for a minute, wipe it off the table, because I think we've killed that. And I think that you understand, and I think that the listeners understand. But there's another area. There's another thing that matters here, right? What are you intentionally learning from your profit and loss sheet, in your balance sheet, in your cash flow sheets? What are you intentionally learning from your client feedback sheets? What are you intentionally learning are you hungry for knowledge? Because look, I can't improve my business if I have customer complaints and I'm just going, that's just them.
Well, I'm going to take that one step further. Are you intentionally engaging an expert in the field of building businesses?
Right.
Are you intentionally engaging an expert in building your life and fitness? Are you intentionally engaging people that are doing these things? Because if not, how can you even say you're hungry for anything?
Right. So we got
comfort.
We've killed this, and Amy just makes some good points in here that I think are hidden. That if we're hungry for knowledge in a specific area, we'll improve. Okay, so let's just boil it down to that. But how do we apply that? How do we apply?
So what you're saying, Mike, is if you want it bad enough, you'll figure out how to get it.
Yeah, well, if you look at
if you want it bad enough, you're going to figure out that it's going to take more than just memorizing the book.
If you look at the thousands of businesses that open every day in the United States, and 80% are going to fail in the first 5 years. The ones that make it past that still struggle to make it to 10 years, and half of those won't make it 1 year. Okay. If you look at that, a lot of it is simply this, right? Well, I didn't realize I would need to know that, and I don't know that, so I can't do this. And the difference between a hungry entrepreneur and a quitter, sorry, that was a little harsh, but there's reality.
Hey, you're better than me. I got in trouble in Periscope yesterday because I called people a loser. I said, you don't do this, you're a loser. Man, the messages flew. I was like, dang, I got in trouble for calling people a loser.
So when you look at, I'm going to need to know how to do this, and I don't know how to do that. That 80% that doesn't make it 5 years goes, man, if we don't have that, we can't make it. So what's the point of moving on?
So they look at the mountain
entrepreneur, the hungry entrepreneur looks and goes, I don't know that. And he gets his calendar out and he gets intentional about learning that. And that's a big difference between success and failure.
And we don't run into a lot of those people. Like I said, but we don't attract a lot lot of people that that are the naysayers that look at the mountain and say, wow, that's
most
just too
people
big.
That come to us already.
Yeah. The people that come to look at the mountain go, okay, I'm really not sure how to climb it. Let me go find this person. And then they come find us, and all of us are pretty much of the same mindset. We see the mountain, and we're like, yeah, I got 10 feet of rope. I got a jacket, some boots. Let's do this, okay?
You were coached to perform at a high level before you were coaching people to perform at a high level. Same with you, okay? Same with me in business. I got business coaches, people that advised me before I ever became good at business, right? But that's not everybody's case, right? And that's why we're in our world. So applying this for me, guys, looks like this. You got to create a plan, an intentional plan, what you're going to read, what you're going to listen to, what you're going to watch, who you're going to associate with. But it's also starting to look at your business from a learning standpoint. What can I learn from my numbers? What can I learn from my client feedback? What can I learn from my peer feedback? What can I learn from my marketing message? What can I learn from my competition? You brought that up. What can I learn from? And entering every situation with the concept that everybody that's sitting in front of you is both a student and a teacher. And when we can enter life with that kind of concept, with that type of view, we can begin to learn more and more and more. And guess what? All the information that you learn is not going to matter. Some of it you're going to put over here, and you're going to tap into it when you need it. It's right. But some of it's going to have a huge impact on your business. It's not just about what you're reading, listening to, and who you're associating with. It's about some of the feedback that's going on inside your business right now. What are you learning from it? And then on the external, what are you learning to improve you so that you can improve your business? Get intentional. Brian, how are you going to apply this?
The way that I applied this, and it took me a while to get people to is something that you and I actually in one of the other BAM episodes we talked about. Okay, it was one of the application points. We gave 3 application points, and it was the very first one. Okay, go to your calendar or your Evernote or your Wunderlist or your Slack, whatever you use to keep track of your day. Okay, and block in time that you're going to spend with yourself reading a book about
what you need to learn and improve.
Yeah, and just if you don't know what to go read, okay, you can go. we all have lists of different things on our blog.
Contact us.
Okay. But you can start with just going and finding the first book that pops up on personal development. Go get the first book. If you really want to make it easy, go get the Mental Fitness Challenge. It comes with 3 good starter books that'll help you immediately.
Yeah, it
okay.
does.
So, and we picked now. He vetted this program very thoroughly, and then he gave it to me, and we vetted it together very thoroughly before we said, "Hey, we want this. We want to go ahead and make this a sponsor of the show." Okay, that's my application. Go block in. Mike said be intentional. I'm going to say go to your calendar, go to your Evernote, go to your Wonder List, whatever it is you keep track of your day, and own part of your day. Make it your time and spend your time reading a book, listening to the podcasts. You can listen to a great podcast, our podcast, Brendan's podcast. We can name off 20 different people that have great podcasts that will really help you. These guys have their information. Go read, educate yourself, and start the process of building that. But go block your time. Go own that hour.
You were challenged recently by somebody because of the BAM episodes that asked you, do you create anything on your own?
Yes.
Right. And what I find interesting is Jeff Shore, Bob Berg, Chuck Blakeman, Luke Iorio, James Arthur Ray. Read their stuff and look at all the different things they reference. They are constantly educating themselves and then creating from that education, right? So
you and I had a conversation the other day, and I said something about me going out and researching this and that, other products or whatnot. And you said, I don't know if you gave me a stat or you said something about how entrepreneurs don't research that. Do you have a stat on that?
I don't have a stat, but the reality is this is how we've been trained, right? This is what I was saying in the beginning about Google, right? We're trained to just go Google and find a piece of information that feels right and move on. But we don't actually stop. Like, I read different now, right? I used to read a book and go, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Doing my thing. I'm reading my book. I'm improving. And technically you are. But if you really want to improve, you get the book, the highlighter, the journal, the pen, and you're not finishing a chapter in a half hour. No. You're finishing a chapter in 3-4 hours. Right? Because you're researching, you're studying to excel. You know, if you look at a Bible scholar compared to somebody who just reads the Bible, it's 2 different things, right? And that's kind of what I'm talking about. So I don't know if there's a statistic out there, but the reality is that we're just trained to get the information.
Well, I don't know if it's a statistic specifically to that, but James Arthur Ray puts out a statistic about being engaged. And what you're talking about is the difference between going through emotion and being engaged with the
material.
With the material. And James puts out a stat, and you go look it up on his website, it's right there in front. 71% of people in business, whether they're employed, corporate, entrepreneur, or whatever, 71% are not engaged with their business.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody the other day. I go, do you listen to podcasts? Oh, yeah, I do. So what do you listen to? And I was happy to hear this. I listen to EntreLeadership, which is my favorite podcast. I said, cool. When do you listen? Usually when I'm riding the exercise bike. I said, that's a great time to listen. I said, when do you go back and listen again? And he said, well, why would I do that? I said, well, because on the exercise bike, you're not taking notes. You're not taking intentional action plans from what you learned from EntreLeadership. So after you've listened to it and you realize, hey, this was a good episode, are you going back? I've read Think and Grow Rich 9 times. 9 times I've read that book
right there.
You have that book? I've read that book.
I've got my copy.
Since the mid-90s, I've read that book 9 times. It's a different book every time I read it because I'm a different person every time I read it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's getting just intentional. It's digging in. Anybody can read the words and flip a page.
So, and that's why we like the Mental Fitness Challenge, because it has the CDs and it has the books. And if you'll do the simple application of blocking it in your times, blocking your time in there, then you can make that
so
happen,
we got 30 seconds left before we have to close out. Here's what I want to do real quick. After this, because you start off with, I have nothing, guys, right?
Help me out. It's in the notes.
What's your application now, or your thought?
Well,
now?
I asked you that question to get into my application.
Okay.
And every day, I was telling you guys this. Every day I do one of 2 things. Either I research something and learn something, or I create something. So I have to do that just because it keeps my mind fresh and it gets me into that creativity mode. So my application piece is to go research another product or another business that's just like yours. Once you research it, write down some good things that they're doing that you could possibly apply to your business. And if you can, and then that's your research period. And then during your creation period, then maybe you create something with that thing, with those things that you said you could possibly apply.
Excellent. I don't know where to go from here.
I like it.
I do too. See how his application piece was better than everybody else's, and he wasn't even on board. I think if he had said, "Hey," I think he did. I think he did.
But I like his thing with the competition, because I ask people that, and I ask them with their competition, and then they ask them about their target market.
Yeah.
People have struggled with their target market.
Right.
So I said, well, you wrote down the 3 people you're competing with, right? And then, I said, go study them and find out who their target audience is, and then come back and we can emulate.
Yeah.
Because if you're competing with them, it's the same target audience.
You said,
Okay.
do you walk into a room, people know that you're their competition? I'll tell you,
They feel you?
when I walk into a room, I know right away that people are looking at me and saying, first of all, that guy's good looking. But secondly,
and humble. And humble.
He's humble too. Mike
they
and I
know.
will be screening all applicants to meet and get. We'll be doing a book signing with the book that he's not writing right now, but will be writing in the future with his good looks.
Yeah.
And
I recently went to a fitness competition, and when I walked into that place, I could tell right away that the key people knew exactly who I was, and you could tell in the fitness industry, nobody likes anybody, right?
No,
and I could tell,
especially when you're competing with them.
Yeah, and I could tell right away that they knew that I was their competition because they already knew who I was before I ever showed up.
Right.
You can feel that. So that's just getting on the point.
I like it.
So,
Well, all right, Mike, close us out.
All right.
Because Amy put it together.
Yeah.
Amy, this is a great.
Look at the
blog.
discussion you stirred up with a story about Ed.
But I think so many people struggle with that because it's not going through emotion. It's being engaged with yourself and your business.
I think that's just the key. I think that hammers it right down. Is it's not going through the educational emotions. It's taking an intentional approach to your self-directed education. Guys, this has been a Bam Slam home run. We've taken Aaron and done 4 360s, spun out of control, and hit a wall. But Aaron, Brian, and I, we broke down another great blog post where we do this so that we can break it down, have a discussion that you can engage in, and better understand the information and apply it to your life for real results. So that's what this is all about. Again, get over to our YouTube channel, subscribe there. Evernote, Wunderlist, and Slack, thank you for keeping us organized. Jeff Shore's
And
got
our timer.
and our timer.
And our timer.
Jeff Shore's got some great stuff coming up. Get over to his website. Check out the summit. Check out the experience tour.
Yep.
Those things. The experience tour comes to a bunch of different cities, probably one close enough to you, and it's very affordable. I think it's $99. It's a half-day seminar, workshop style, very interactive. I've been to it. It's fantastic.
You went to it last year. That's pretty good.
If you need an introduction to Amy, Jeff, Ryan, or anybody else on that team, let Aaron, Brian, or I know. We'll make a personal, professional introduction for you. We get it. Building a business is tough. Building a business is not something you should do alone, okay? But a great way to improve your business is to do what other high performers are doing, and that is to work on your skill set and your mindset simultaneously so that you can grow into the leader that your business leads. It's taking that intentional approach that we've been talking about to your self-directed education, being hungry for knowledge. And that's what this is all about. It's been put together by 7 of the top leadership gurus out there. It's affordable, effective, 15 CDs, 3 books, built for change. Check it out. The link's below. Finally, if you need help with your business, any aspect of your business, any aspect of your life, or your health and wellness, get in touch with Aaron, Brian, or myself. If we can't help you, we'll connect you with an expert that can. So we leave you in this BAM episode asking, how can we better serve you? For now, we're out.
See ya.
Later.
I'm not clicking stop until you say peace.
Peace.